Okay, can everyone see like the board-ish? It's okay, it's not too bad. All right, so let's just start talking about the basic structure of triads. So triads, obviously, tri is 3, right? So we're talking about 3 notes. And typically when we first start learning about triads, we like to learn them in what's called root position. And that is when the chords are stacked in thirds. So, you know, a really pretty one that looks really nice, like a little snowman, is our beautiful, if we're in the key of F, our F major triad, right? It looks like a little snowman, perfect. So for a major triad, let's just talk about, so first of all, this is root position. So we're gonna talk about all these chords first in root position, then we'll talk about them in inverted and also open position, which is how you see music mostly when it's printed on a page, would be either inversion or open. So let's talk really quick about major triads. The reason we get a major triad is between the first 2. So we have, you know, the root of the chord. Maybe I should talk about this first. We have the root, the 3rd, and the 5th. I don't know why I wrote it like that, but here we go. So the major triad, what gives it that major quality is that this distance between the root and the 3rd is a major 3rd, right? So if we have this triad, actually, I was just talking with some other people. I'm gonna switch to the organ sound on my keyboard because it sustains a little bit better. So when we have that major 3rd, we get a major chord. Now, just to note on this, when we have the distance between the 5th and the 3rd in a major chord, that's actually a minor 3rd. So we have a major 3rd stacked on top of a minor 3rd. Right? So that's do, mi, versus do, mi, right? So you can hear the qualities of those as being major and then minor. So that's what makes a major triad in root position. So let's use this same F major triad and let's really quick talk about what happens if we start changing some of these notes in the triad. So let's say we're still in F. So we still have an F triad of some sort because F is the root of this chord. We're still gonna stack it in thirds. What happens if we take this and we make this an A flat? So someone tell me now, what do we have here between the root and the third of the chord? What interval do we have? You can either chat it in the chat or scream it out. Nobody. Everyone is very quiet. Okay, Sophie, what do we have? I'm just gonna call on you. If no one's gonna speak, I will call on you.
Okay, minor third?
Yes, so it's gotta still be a third because we still, again, we're counting 1, 2, 3, space, line, space. So we get a third, right? That does not look like a 3. Let's try that again. We still have a third. And if we know that this is a major third, if we flat that A, we get that minor third. And for those of you who maybe missed when we were talking about intervals, notice when I write minor, I always put a line over the M because sometimes people's capital M's are still rounded. Some people write them pointy, and then some people write their lowercase m's pointy or rounded, and they all kind of start to look the same. So if we want something major, we write it big and pointy. And if we want something minor, we put the line on top just to distinguish, because sometimes people's handwriting is not super great. So when we want to write minor, we always put that little slash over the top. So we have a minor third. So then if we're then looking at this distance here, we knew before we had a minor third, right? And now we've moved that A flat is now a little bit lower. So what interval do we have here, Hayden? on the top between A flat and C. I can't hear you. Did you say major? I feel like your mouth said major.
Yes, and then I said minor.
So which is it? It's a third still, so is it a major or a minor?
Major.
Yes, it is. We have a major with pointy M, major third on top. So a minor chord, so this is actually now an F minor chord because of the quality of this bottom triad between the root and the third. So that's what makes the difference between a major and a minor. So if we come back over here, that's our major, F major. If we flat the A, we get a minor triad. And you hear that minor third. And then you hear the major third from the A flat to the C on top. And you can hear the difference in those qualities, right? Those are coming through on the internet a little bit. Okay, cool. So this is how we write a minor chord. So a major one, a major triad is a major third and a minor third on top. Minor is a minor third with a major third on top. Now let's go ahead, and I'm trying to decide how I want to like lay this out. Most books then have you do a bunch of stuff with major and minor chords and their inversions. I kind of just want to like throw everyone into the fire and look at also like diminished and augmented, but let's wait on that. So let's just do some like exercises with major and minor triads in root position. So we'll go into the inversions next, I think. So you don't need that. All right, so let's do a couple of things. If I were to give you, say, a key that I want you to write a triad in. So I would love to see a B flat major triad. And then maybe the next one, let's do a B flat. We'll write it in lowercase because that's usually how we do it. A B flat, looks like a flat flat. A B flat minor triad. So let's see if we can write these two out. So I'm going to call on someone after you've thought about this for a second, unless you would like to answer. But I will call on you if no one wants to answer. Who would like to build for me a B flat major triad? All three notes. Anybody? Nobody? How about Juliana? So what would your first root note be in a B flat major triad? B flat, excellent. Let's go with B flat. All right, Juliana, so what would then your next third up be? What pitch? A D. D natural, D flat, D sharp. Tell me quality first as well. D natural with a question mark. Excellent. She's texting these to me, by the way, on the chat. Yes, D natural, correct. And then what would then your next third up be? Oh, sorry, we're in B flat. This should be a B flat. My bad. Yes, F natural. Thank you. Good. Sorry, I forgot the B flat. So yes, so we have a B flat to a D. That is your major third. And then we have the D to the F, which is a minor third. So remember, if we know our circle of fifths, we can also figure this out via the circle of fifths. If we know how to do what the keys for the relative majors and minors are. This is why that circle of fifths is so incredibly important. So for instance, if we know from B flat, if we know that our B flat major scale has 2 flats, and we know that they're B flat and E flat, we know that the D has to be a D natural. Then if we can think about from D to F, if we know that D minor has 1 flat and it is a B flat, then we know that D to F natural would have to be the minor third. If we wrote the F as an F sharp, then that would make this a major third if we had a sharp here, which wouldn't be right because then you'd have 2 major thirds on top of each other. That is something else, which we will talk about. So if we want a minor third, we can remember that D minor has a flat in it, so there's no F sharp. So that's another way you can think about this via like key signatures, if you're like really quick and know your key signatures. All right, who would like to build for me a B flat minor triad?
I'll do it.
All right, let's hear it, Hayden. What do we got?
A B flat,
Yes.
a B flat,
Yes.
and an F. Now,
Correct. Yes, absolutely. So again, here we get that minor third because we know that the key of B flat minor has a ton of flats, right? And so the D is flat. And then again, D flat to F, that would be a major third, right? Good. Let's do just a few more of these because I think these are like really handy. Let's just go, can everyone see if I go down below? And we'll do these in treble clef. I know I think some of my practice examples that I have for y'all have them also in bass clef. I should make you do it in bass clef, but I'm gonna be really, really kind to you for once. So let's do this. Let's do another one. Let's do, how about E? Let's do E. That looks like an E. E major and E minor. So who would like to do E major? I would love to hear from Aaron. Good job, Hayden, by the way. Aaron or Alex or Maya? Alex is volunteering as tribute. All right.
Yeah, well, root's E, and then it's G sharp, and then it's B.
Totally. You get the easy one. Yeah. So again, it's the same thing. Major third, minor third, stacked on top. We know the key of my E minor has 4 sharps. That helps us there. Or E major has 4 sharps. Whoa. E minor does not have 4 sharps. E major does though. Yeah. So let's go on. Can I get either Maya or Aaron who would like to volunteer as tribute for E minor?
Can do it.
Okay, Aaron, let's kick it.
E, and then G, and then B.
Yeah, G what?
Natural.
Yes, totally. Yeah, good, perfect. So, and then Aaron, just for fun, tell me how many sharps or flats does E minor have?
I don't know.
Count up 3 half steps from E.
Wait, so I'm confused.
So if you go up a half step from E, what note do you get?
E flat.
Up a half step.
Oh, F.
Yep, and then go up another one,
F sharp.
and then go up the last one.
G.
Yeah, so E minor is related to G major. What's the key signature of G major?
Is it concert or the other
Always it's not concert. We're not talking in concert here. We're talking in, well, I guess technically we are talking in concert, but don't think about it like that. We're thinking about it in our horn pitch.
It would just be 1 sharp.
Yeah, that's right. And so that 1 sharp would be F sharp, which is not over here anywhere. So we know that that's our E minor chord. Yeah, so again, if you know key signatures, majors and minors, this is super easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? All right, sweet. So I have an entire sheet of these for y'all to do eventually if you want to do them, and we might do some of them together. But I want to first talk about inversions and open chords. So let's take, let's go back, let's do C, just because C, we can invert it a lot of times before we run out of ledger line space. So let's look at a C major chord, and let's talk about inversions. So up until this time, we were talking about root position, right? Wow. Maybe someday I'll learn how to write, y'all. God. My handwriting's bad too, so there's that. So root position C, somebody who has not built a chord yet. Maya, build me a root position C major chord.
C, E, and then G.
Yeah, C, E, G, perfect. Everyone's favorite C major. Now, sometimes when we play chords, we don't play them always in the root position. If we played everything in the root position, we would sound like pop music. We'd get like we get. That's a bunch of root major chords, and you've heard that before, right? In like every pop song ever invented, ever. Maybe not every, but so many, right? So we sometimes do what's called inverting chords, right? So there's two inversions that triads have, because once we rotate them through two inversions, we're back at a root position. So first inversion, and then we also have second inversion. All right, so first inversion, what we do is we take this C at the bottom and we whoop, stick it on the top. So first inversion means now all of a sudden our E looks like it is the root, but it is not. Our G suddenly looks like it's the second note, but it really is not the third. We now put the C on top. So this C has moved up here. So this is what C major inversion looks like. And there's actually some sort of shorthand that we use when we do Roman numeral analysis. This would be C6. But we're not going to worry about that right now. We'll get into that later, I promise. Unless you don't want to. It's tricksy, but it's very handy to know. So this is still C major, but now we've changed it. All of a sudden, this is the third, this is the fifth, and the root is up here. So we've just flipped it. And this is really kind of tricksy to hear too. So you get this. Let's go a little lower. I think the organ sounds better lower. So we get, instead of the root chord, we move it up. So it's the same pitches, it's just now a different inversion. So let's look for a second at what the second inversion is. Could anyone guess as to what is going to occur here? Knowing that before we took the bottom note and put it up, what does anyone think might happen in our second inversion? Any guesses? So if we do have a guess.
Move the E up.
Yeah, so now the E jumps to the top. So all of a sudden, it looks like, again, our G looks like the root. It is not. It is still the fifth, but we've now moved everything up. So we still have the fifth down here. The third is here, and the root is here. So again, we've now moved everything shifts up. So that kind of sounds like here's C major in a root position. Here's the first inversion and the second inversion. And then what would happen next is if we move this G back up on top, we would get now a root position C major chord again, but we've just jumped up a whole octave, right? So this is still C, but here we are in root position. So the way we structure this, it's kind of sort of like, again, I like to think of them as like little snowmen, right? So you have this perfectly, except he looks a little wonky, but a perfectly perfect snowman. Here you get like a snowman who has a little extra neck in the first inversion. And then in the second inversion, we get a little extra leg. And the other thing that you notice too here is we still have the same pitches. But again, remember when we talked about intervals and we talked about inverse relationships of intervals, right? So let me ask this question to a couple of you. Hayden, let me ask this question of you. If you go from C to E here in root position or over here, it could be either one, what interval do you have now?
Fifth.
Yes, you do. You have a perfect fifth. Now, when you flip-flop it and you bring that C, great job, and you bring that C up to the top, you get its inverse perfect interval, right? So remember, that perfect fifth is related to what interval? Alex, who is reclining.
Hello. Yeah.
Oh.
That's a 6.
G to C?
Yeah. Oh, G to C? G to C?
Yes. It is. It's a perfect fourth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just talking about G to C.
Sorry. I thought you were talking
Nope,
about...
that's okay. That's okay. So, but I guess what I'm saying is, you're right. You're totally right. Is we're looking, I like how you have a piano there and you're picking them out by ear. Look at you, ear trainer. So basically remember, a perfect fifth and a perfect fourth are inverse of each other, right? They're that golden ratio that Pythagoras came up with. And so when you flip them, when you flip that one up, you have its inverse. And the same thing happens then when, again, when you have this minor third, right, from E to G, when you flip the E up on top from the G, this is where you were talking about, Alex, where you get that sixth, right? Because thirds and sixths are opposite. So if this was a major triad or a minor third between the E to the G, now we have a major sixth, right? But again, we still have that perfect fourth here between the G to the C. And then what I think Alex was getting at here is that you do have a sixth between these two outer notes, and that is a minor sixth, right? Whereas here we have a major sixth. So yeah, so we're just flipping them around. So inversions have to do with those intervals that we were talking about before and how they like flip-flop around. So let's do some practice with this. I'm gonna write some chords very quickly and I will give you, actually, let's do this. So the next thing to think about too, I'm gonna change colors because I'm tired of green. Green's my favorite color, but I'm tired of it. So let's go to red for a second. So the other thing to remember too is say we have a triad and it looks like, what do I want to do? Let's say we have a triad and it looks like this. So this is some kind of a triad, right? But we don't maybe know what key it's in, and we also maybe don't know what inversion it's in. So to try and figure these two things out, let's see if we can get it back to looking like it's triad in root position. So we're gonna get this into root. So to do that, we wanna stack these notes back in thirds, right? So here we have a fourth here, that's kind of weird. And here we have a third. Well, you could figure out what inversion this is in by knowing, remember, that the first inversion is a long-necked snowman, right? So we could then know that this is first inversion. This one is. Should write underneath first. This is a first inversion triad. So now let's write it back in root position. So if we wrote this in root position, Maya, what would be the root of this chord? Wait, did you say something, Maya? I couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, couldn't hear you. What's the root?
A flat.
Yeah, it's A flat. So let's write it here just because it's easier to see. I could write it way down here, but A flat is the root. And then you would take your C, boom, and your E flat, boom, and you would stack those guys like that. So now the root is an A flat. Now my next question is this A flat major or A flat minor? Maya, I'll ask you again.
Is minor.
Did you say minor?
Mm-hmm.
It is not minor.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's major, right? If it was minor, it would actually have a C flat in it too. So it is an A flat major chord, right? Because we have the distance from A flat to C. We need it to be, we would count either how far apart that is. We would count that, right? And we know that that is a major third. And if that's a major third, then we know it's a major chord. So it's the quality of the root to the third is what gives this major and minor quality. Let's do another one of these. So we're gonna go from some inversion and we're gonna go to the root. And we'll say that that's a different one. Let's do, I don't know, what are we gonna do here? Let's do this one. Yeah, let's do that. So what I'm going to ask is to stack it. First of all, let's stack it back in root position. And then let's figure out what chord that is and if it is major or minor. So who would like to do this one? Juliana, would you like to do this one? She says IDK. Okay, well, let's figure it out together. Or would someone else like to answer? All right, Juliana, so let's sort of like parcel it out. If you stacked these guys in thirds, so I guess the first thing they kind of do, whoop, I'm confused. What is the question? The question is, let's stack these back in root position. So what would how would you stack this to look in all thirds? So let's get every note a third apart. And then what chord is it once you've gotten it stacked in root position? Is much, and then we can also then figure out from that what inversion it is. Or you can figure out the inversion right now.
Wouldn't the A just move up on top of it then?
Yeah, we would move the A, boom, up on top of it then. Yeah, so let's do that. And I'm gonna just move this up so we have room to do that. Yeah, so to stack this in thirds, we get D, F, A, boom, just like that. Perfect. So we've now put it into root position. So if you're moving the bottom note up and that gets it back into root position, which inversion might this be? Is it first or second? Second, great, good. So we know this is second inversion, perfect. And so now what chord is this in root position? No, it doesn't matter what octave you write it in. Like I could have written this chord, Sophie, down here. It's still this same chord in root position. I mean, I guess if technically, if this was like a piano test and you were doing you were playing the inversions performance wise, you would play root position, first inversion, second inversion, and then the next highest root position, you wouldn't jump back down an octave. But just from like, convenience's sake, I mean, I don't like writing a ton of leisure lines, but I just wanted to do that just so you could see the change. All right, so Sophie, since I'm chatting with you, what chord is this?
D minor.
Yeah, it is D minor. Yeah, because if it was D major, this would have to be sharp because we know the key of D major has an F sharp in it. Good, but it is not. It is a lovely D minor chord. So this is how we read the differences between chords. And this is how you see chords a lot of times if you're looking at piano music or at a reduced score for some band or orchestral piece. It's gonna you're gonna see chords like this. Or if you're looking at a score and you've got, a first violin part here and a second violin part here, and then you've got a cello part that's like way down here, you can figure out what those are. So actually, let's look at this. This is called open position. And I actually wrote a perfect chord to describe this in. I don't know how I did that. So this is called open position, where we've got larger than thirds and fourths and fifths, right? I mean, we still have some fourths and fifths. We still have some fifths, right? But we've got way bigger spaces, right? So this is an A down here. And then we have A to E, that's a fifth, right? And then we have E to C, E natural to C, right? And that's a minor sixth between those. So this is a really big, weird chord. But again, let's stack it in thirds so that we can figure out what this is. So can someone stack me an A, an E, and a C in thirds in the correct order? And again, it doesn't really matter what octave. I'll actually write it in the staff, or actually, shoot, we'll write it down here. So if we stack these in thirds, I'll just do it for you since this makes more sense maybe. You have an A C would be the next third up, and then an E, right? And so this is just an A minor chord. But we got that from the way this is sort of spread out. You just compress them down to thirds, right? So you could even sort of doodle this out if this is hard for you to see. You could even write, you could say, okay, well, I have a C, an E, and an A. You could say, okay, well, is the E the root? No, because that's an inversion, right? We've got too big of a space. And then you would maybe then say, oh, well, maybe I'll move it here. That's my stacked triads, right? Yes, it is A minor. Yes. Juliana, did that answer your question? It is A minor. So yeah, so sometimes you see things in this open position. And again, that will often happen if you're playing in, say, brass quintet and you are a trumpet player and you're looking at maybe a score and you see that, let's pretend the score is in C, so everyone's written in the same pitch, thank goodness. Say you have a trumpet, let's do another one of these. Let's say you have like a trumpet in C. Again, let's say it's a C score, so everyone's in the same key. You've got a trumpet in C playing like this note. And then you've got a horn playing this note. That'd be pretty high, but you could do it. And then again, kind of high, but then you had a trombone playing this note. This is kind of fun. So let's have someone stack these puppies. Stack these guys in thirds. Erin, you want to stack these in thirds for me?
Would you move the E up? an octave.
Yeah, you could just move the E up an octave. Yeah, so you would get da 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 da. Oop, ha. Some days you're good at writing, and some days you just are thinking ahead. Yeah. So let's sharp everybody, because that's the crazy key we're in. So what key is this? Anyone? Just yell it out.
C sharp.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, it's
You're
C
welcome.
sharp major or minor.
Major.
Excellent. Sweet. Yeah, C sharp major, because C sharp major has 7 sharps, all the sharps. It's one of my favorite keys to look at because it looks crazy. Least favorite keys to play because it hurts my head. So yeah. Does this make sense? This makes a little bit of sense here. Yes, no, maybe a bit. Are there any questions on this? Because I'm about to make it harder. Any questions? Okay, well, actually, let's maybe, since I forced you guys to print things, I would love to maybe go through, I don't know. Let's do this afterwards. This will be a good review for the end because it makes you do everything. Okay, cool. So let's move on for just a second and let's make this more challenging. La, la, la. I don't know what page that I was going to use. All right, well, I had a page marked and then I did not. Sorry, y'all, I'm disorganized. Welcome to disorganization. Never mind, I think I found it. Maybe, or not. Okay, well, I'll just make stuff up. All right, so let's talk about the other 2 types of triads that you will see a lot. So we were talking about major, minor. There's 2 other types. So remember when we talked about intervals, we had major intervals, minor intervals. We also had perfect intervals, but there's no perfect triads because they're made up of thirds. We can't have the perfect quality of fourths and fifths. Oh, wait, what was, who just said that? I saw a chat come through. Juliana says augmented and diminished, question mark? That is absolutely correct. We have augmented and diminished. Did I spell that right? I'm terrible at spelling now. Diminished, that looks like diminished. Okay, sweet. And again, we would just distinguish those by a capital A and a lowercase d. There's another symbol for diminished. It actually looks like a little degree sign, which is pretty common to use, especially when we're doing harmonic analysis and we're talking about like diminished 7th chords, which we can get into here if you'd like. But this is another way of notating it. The problem is that when you're not writing it next to other letters or numbers, so if you have like C diminished, that obviously looks like a diminished sign. But if you're filling in something and it says, tell me, like a blank, and it says, tell me if this is augmented or diminished. If you just write a circle, I mean, that could be a 0, that could be a note head. I don't know what that is. So usually if you're doing like a worksheet or something, you would put a D for diminished. Sometimes you'll put the D and the diminished symbol because again, that can look like D minor. So we're trying just to not confuse each other from a theory standpoint in how we write things. So let's talk about augmented chords. So let's go back to that F major triad, just because I think it's really pretty and it fits on the staff really well. And I can stay between the lines. So we have F major, okay? So remember I said the thing that makes a chord major is the quality here of being a major third. So if we take this quality here, which was a minor third, right? And we augment it, which means to make something larger or bigger. If we augment that to a major third, we get an F augmented chord. Fa, it's not fa, but an F augmented chord. So you'll get this, you keep your same major third, but now we need to augment this C. So it has to go to being a C sharp. Now, we cannot write it as a D flat because that then changes the shape of our root position chord. We now have a third, and this is way too big of a gap, right? We have a fourth here. So this now looks like an inversion, which it is an inversion. If we took this down, we would create this as being the root. So now we have a completely different chord. We have some kind of D flat root, which is why we cannot, if our root is F, we cannot write that D up there because if we root position it, it won't work. It just cannot work. So that is how we write augmented chords. And again, this is really important to know your key signatures, because if you know your major key signatures and you see something that doesn't look right, we know that F major does not have an F sharp in it. You could probably bet this is some kind of augmented chord when you put it into root position. So let's do another one of these or two of these just for practicing. And I'm just gonna have you guys build augmented chords. So let's do, I kind of like that D flat earlier. Let's do a D flat augmented chord. Someone build me a D flat augmented chord. Sophie? Can you type it? There's loud percussion. Yes. Is your sister practicing or is she having a lesson? That's fair. You may type it. Yes. So build me a D flat chord from root, third, fifth up. So we always also, when we speak of these chords, we always speak of them from the bottom. So I would just say F, A, C, not A, C, F or something like that if I'm talking about it in root position. All right. Thanks, Hayden, for coming. We'll see you next time. Root is D flat. Yep, that's a good start. Let's go up here. Third is F. And then we need the fifth. Fifth is A. Yes, A natural. Yes, yes, you're right. Totally right. Yes, because if we had an A flat, that would be just our regular D flat major because the key of D flat does have an A flat in it. However, if we raise it, so we're basically sharping a flat, which is kind of like adding a negative, right? Or add, like multiplying two negatives or something like that. I don't know. But it's canceling it out, right? So you're going from that A flat and you're raising it. You can't raise it to the next natural note. You've got to go up to an A natural, right? So that's why this is an A natural to get to your augmented quality here. Great, good stuff. Let's do another one. Let's do, I don't know. Let's do another, let's do a sharp. I'm going to give it away. Not going to say what I'm going to say. Let's do A. So we're going to make an A augmented triad. Adding a positive to a negative. Thanks, Juliana. See, I'm not good at math. You guys got to help me out on this math stuff. So sweet. Yeah. So let's do A. So who would like to build this one? Don't all jump at it at once. I'm just going to call on y'all because no one wants to speak. Maya, build me an A augmented triad.
Root is A,
Yes.
and then and then C,
C.
C sharp,
Good.
and then E sharp, I think.
Yeah. E sharp. Yeah. Which looks really janky and weird, right? So we have A augmented. Sometimes we'll write it out because again, that looks really confusing. So yeah, that's absolutely right. And again, I would love to write that E sharp as an F because this is confusing to me personally as someone reading music quickly, maybe sight reading something on the spot. That's confusing. But if we write it as F, again, we don't get the same chord because if we stack it in thirds, all of a sudden we get a completely different chord. We get something with an F root and we want the A to be our root. Good. All right. So I want you to notice something. You can only make an augmented chord from basically a major chord, right? So you have to have that first major third. So you're never going to get some crazy question that's like augment a diminished chord. Maybe I should tell you this after we talk about diminished chords. If you augment a diminished chord, you'll get either a minor or a major chord, right? And you could diminish an augmented chord, I guess, but again, you won't get a diminished chord. It'll diminish down to a major or a minor chord. Does that make sense? So let's jump into really quick and talk about diminished chords because I've already given you hints on those. So a diminished chord, where an augmented chord is two stacked major thirds, right? So you got da, 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 da. This is your augmented chord, right? So this is a augmented, this is a F augmented, right? Let's go back to F. So if you have an F chord and you want to write it as a diminished chord, augmented chords are two major thirds stacked on top of each other. A diminished chord is two minor thirds stacked on top of each other. So let's make this F, we have here an F major triad, right? Let's make it diminished. So if I want to diminish this, Alex, what do I have to do to alter this F major chord to make it a diminished?
You have to lower the A to an A flat, and then the C becomes a C flat.
That is absolutely correct. Yes. So we're diminishing it from there, right? So again, what I was saying is you have to have this minor third, and then you flat the fifth as well, the fifth note there. And that gives you another minor third on top. So yeah, so that's how you create those. So let's create a couple of these on our own here. So let's do a D diminished, and then let's do like 3 of these quickly. Speed round. Let's do we already did an F diminished. I'm trying to think of good chords. Let's do a B diminished. And then let's also do, ooh, tasty. Let's do an E flat diminished. That might be a challenge. All right, sweet. So who would like to do D diminished? Alex already has all of these figured out, I can tell. Erin, would you like to do a D diminished chord?
I can try.
Yeah, let's build her.
So it would be D, then F.
F what?
Natural.
Yes.
And then A flat.
Yes, A flat. Correct. That's a good job. All right, who would like to do a B diminished? Maya?
You have a B, and then D,
Natural, sharp, flat.
natural.
Hmm.
Nope. Okay. Flat. I'm just guessing here.
I lied. It is a natural. I'm sorry. My bad. I was thinking of the next one and I was like derping out for a second. It is a natural.
Okay.
I lied. Okay, and then what's your next one?
And then the next one's F.
Correct. Yes. F, natural, sharp, flat.
Sharp. Wait, sorry. Flat.
Are you sure?
No. I'm kind of guessing.
It's a natural. And again, there's really no reason to guess at any of these. If you count up a minor third, right, which is always 3 half steps, right? And so if you go up a half step from D, you get E flat, up another half step, you get E, and up another half step, you get F natural, right? So yeah, so there's no reason to guess for any of these. All right, who would like to do the tricksy one, E flat diminished? Sophie or Alex, I think you're up. Or Juliana. Who would like to do this one? Juliana, do you want to try it? The chat is silent. Well, not really. All right, fair. Okay, how about Alex? Why don't you just crush this one?
Okay. So it's E flat, right?
So
So
far, so good.
E flat. Then it's G flat,
Yes.
and then A.
Well, we can't do A because
Oh, yeah,
then we
yeah,
don't
yeah.
have stacked
So that
triads.
would have to be G sharp.
Well, it can't be G sharp either
Oh,
because we
yeah.
already have a G flat.
Would it be B double flat then? I mean,
Yes, it is
yeah.
B double flat. Oh my God. Yes. So this is where things get tricky, is if you have augmented chords in sharp keys, you will get double sharps. If you have diminished chords in flat keys, you will probably have some double flats somewhere. And just so everyone is clear, if we write a double flat, because maybe this is something you guys haven't really seen too much of, a double flat literally just looks like 2 flats smushed together. It looks kind of weird, and it's prettier when it's like printed in like actual music notation software. It's like pretty. Mine is pretty rough. So you'd see like B double flat. It would look like that. Now, if we had a double sharp and we wanted to write that, so for instance, where that might become a thing is if we have, say, like an F sharp augmented chord, and so you have an F sharp, right? And then you have an A of some conglomeration, and we know that that would definitely be an A sharp because there is an A sharp in the key of F sharp. And then you would have a C sharp. That makes it an F major chord. However, if it's augmented, we have to double sharp the C. A double sharp looks kind of like an X. So if you see something like that, when you have a stacked triad, you know there's some funny business going on with it, right?
Question.
Yes.
So just to clarify, so when you write them, since they have to be in like the snowman form, even if you're in like a flat key, you can write sharps, and even if you're in like a sharp key, you can write flats?
Well, technically, we like to not do that.
But we did it earlier, so I was just like wondering.
We did what earlier?
There was like a flat key, and you wrote sharps in it.
I don't think so. Did I?
I'm pretty sure you did. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I did not. We try not to do that. That is not something that we
That's what I
do.
thought, but I thought that you did do it, so then I was confused. But anyway.
I'm trying to think of when I would have done that. I don't even remember what I asked you guys, what I made you guys write down. Again, you know, if you have, let's say we have like a flat key. Let me think for a second. Okay, so, example. I did think of an example just now. Can you guys still see if I write over here? If I have a B flat major chord, so we have B flat major, right? If I want to make that an augmented chord, I'd have to sharp the F. So yes, this does occur sometimes, but again, it's when like funny business is happening, right? It's when we're getting into these sort of like crazy chords. Oh, I should also play for you what these chords sound like, because I would love to do, this might not happen today. We might have to continue this table the rest of this to Monday. I want to only work for maybe another like 10 or so minutes, because I know you guys have been schooling and doing all kinds of things all day. And some of you have already had a lesson today. So you've done a lot of things today already. But let's talk about, again, let me play for you maybe F minor, or sorry, F major. So we have major. If we want to augment that, we have that major third between the root and the third. And instead of having a minor third, and actually, I wonder, can I turn you guys around? Can you see my keyboard? Oh no, I have to change the angle. This could be dangerous. Oh no, maybe I can. Oh, hold on. I have to undo something before I break you. Is this really loud? I apologize for the loudness. Which of these things controls that? Oh, it's this. Sorry. You know, when you're not like a person who does things with like camera tripods and whatnot, you don't know how to angle things. Does this turn it down? Wait, what turns it down? I can't angle you low enough. Oh, you know what I could do though? I could just move you lower. Come down to my level. It's pretty low. Oh, you're still not low enough. Okay, well, I tried. I just need you to come down just a little bit. Okay, can you see-ish sometimes a little? Maybe. Is this possible to see? So if we have F major, if I raise that fifth, we get an augmented chord. So you get a major third. So do, mi, and another do, mi. Do, but, do, mi, do, mi. So do, re, mi, if you walk up, right? So this has kind of a very like unsettled sound, right? It's really unsettling. It's a weird sound. So now let's talk about F diminished. So if we have a major chord and we flat the third, we get do, mi, so. So we get that minor tonality. If we then flat the fifth, which is a C, now we're going to play a C flat. You get something that sounds very, very minor, because we have do, mi, and from there we have do, mi. So we get two sets of minor thirds on top of each other. This is kind of, I like to think of that one as being like the girl is tied to the railroad tracks, and you get this, you know, sort of like kind of sound, right? So I think I would like to maybe go ahead and maybe we should do some of these practice together. I have lost my sheets that we have here. I think it might be really fun to go through. I would love to go through all of these eventually. But let's go through really quickly and maybe like do a little bit of listening too. On this, I think it's very faint. It says, focus on skills 5. I got this from a beginning theory book. But these are fun to practice. This first one says, identify the root of each of the following triads, which is nice because guess what? They're all in root position. How kind. So identify the root of the following triads. label each as major with a capital M, minor with a lowercase, augmented, or diminished. So let's go through some of these together, and then I want to kind of like, we can sort of listen to the qualities of them. That way we can sort of hear what they sound like. And I would love, I know it sounds like there's like, you guys maybe are like in places where there's like loud percussion, Sophie, or something is going on. But maybe like also working on like singing this a little bit so we can get this in our ears a little bit. Joanna says, I don't remember that a double sharp is an X. Yeah, it's an X. It's definitely an X. You'll see it on stuff. So let's do this. I'm gonna call on someone, and I might just sort of go down our participant list here. Sophie, that first chord in letter A, it's a bass clef example. What root do we have, and then is it major or minor, or augmented or diminished?
I said it was F was the root, and then I said that it was minor.
It is. It's F minor. So if you're in a place where you can sing, let's start on this F in whatever range you desire, whatever vocal type you are. So let's sing an F minor triad, and let's sing do, me, so, because me is the lowering of me. So let's sing it together. Ready and go. Do, me, so. And that's what it sounds like. Oh, Sophie, are you clapping for your sister? Is your sister singing something?
Yes.
Nice. I'm glad we're getting stuff from the peanut gallery. Yeah, Juliana, I don't know why that sent weirdly out of order. I don't know. Zoom was zooming out. All right. Erin, let's do the next one. It's in bass clef. Watch out for that. What do we got there?
Would the root be G natural? I think it is.
Watch out. We're in bass clef though.
Yeah, the top one.
Oh no, all of these are in root position.
Oh, then
Yeah,
B
they're all
flat.
stacked in perfect thirds. No, the root is just a B natural. We're in bass clef. Are we looking at the same one?
Possibly.
Sorry, it's the second measure of letter A.
Yeah.
Bass clef.
It looks like there's a flat on like the first note.
That's weird. It looks like, are you looking at one in bass clef or in treble clef?
No, it's in bass.
All right, so let's just make sure we're on the same page. A, the second measure.
Oh, definitely not. Is yours in sharp?
Are you looking at maybe the second page? I think you're looking at the second page. So it should be, it's page 279 in the book.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Let's try that again. Start over, scratch that. We got it.
It would be B natural.
Yep, B natural. And then is it major, minor, augmented, or diminished?
I don't know.
All right, Maya, do you want to help out Erin?
Is it diminished?
It is not diminished. So let me ask sort of a general question. How many sharps does the key of B major, or B in general, let's just say B major, have? Let's start with that. I see some chat power coming in. So, okay, so the key of B major has 5 sharps, right? F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, I messed up, F, C, G, D, sorry. Hey, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, right? 5 sharps. So Maya, knowing that there's 5 sharps in the key of B major, what does that tell you now about this triad that's here?
Major.
It is B major. So we get. So let's sing this together. And then I think I heard a question, maybe. Let's sing this together. On do, ready, go. Do, mi, so. Yes. So we get that. Good. Thanks, Maya. Let's go to Alex. Can you talk to me about the next one, treble clef?
Yeah, sure. So the root is E flat, and then the fifth or fourth is raised. Sorry. So it's augmented. My bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's an augmented chord. So when we sing these, like, you could say C as the highest note, right? Because it's the fifth. So do, re, mi, fa, so. We would say C, which is kind of confusing because some people use solfege syllables. C is actually T. Confusing. But if you have a raised fifth, you would sing C because a flat fifth would be sa. So anyway, so let's sing this again in whatever octave you desire. I like to sing up here. You might want to sing lower, but let's sing this together. So do, mi, si. We'll sing it together. Ready and sing. Do, mi, si. So let's sing that in major. Ready? We're going to sing it in major. Do, mi, so. So this is actually a good thing to practice, just singing these intervals and these chords. Let's do another one. Juliana, the last measure of little letter A, or exercise A, I guess. What do we have here? Can I get the root? Yes, the root is F sharp. Okay, so now that you know the root, let's think about F sharp major, which I think we did on the board a little while ago, like very recently, actually. So think about F sharp major, discern how many sharps or flats it might have, and then see how that lines up with what you are given. Good, it is diminished. So let's practice this F sharp diminished monster. So we have do, re, si. Right? So let's sing that together. Ready, go. Do, re, si. So let's make that diminished chord minor by raising the fifth note to sol instead. So let's sing it diminished, and then we'll immediately sing it starting back on the root up to sol instead. So here we go. Do, re, si. Now let's sharp that one and sing it. Do, re, so. Right? And if you want to make it major, do, mi, so. And then you can make it augmented. Do, mi, so. So this is actually really good ear training, just singing through each of these chords and figuring them out that way. All right, sweet. Are there any questions on this? So let's do this just for like homework. And you don't have to do it obviously because this is not a graded class, not even for pass or fail. If you want to do the rest of this page 279, it's the focus on skills 5, just that one page. We can work together more on Monday, so not tomorrow. I have like 7,000 things I have to do tomorrow. Let's hold off on doing page 280 because we have to then flip them around. I think this might be good practice to do together, and maybe we can then do some like listening and oral skills of actually like figuring this out. I also really want to at some point hang on to this other one. This is from an old tonal counterpoint book that I have. I want you guys to sort of be considering this because this is legit music. It looks like real music. I would love for us to be able to go through at least the first line of this next time we chat and just identify what chords these are by sort of mentally stacking them back in root position and just then discerning if they're, well, there's no diminished chords here, I think. I don't think there's any diminished or augmented. I'll give you that hint. But then discerning if they're major minor, because this is how we analyze music and understand the relationships between chords, which then helps us understand the relationships between tension and release in music, which is one of the things that literally makes music, which is like super fun. So if we understand this, we're understanding how music works. And then by that case, we could then create our own music or understand why does this chord make someone feel that way. And then we can build upon that and, you know, further understand. So let's do this. Your homework, if you choose to do it for extra practice, do page 279. Feel free to like take a picture of it and send it to me and I will like grade it. I'll look at it to make sure it's correct. And then that would be great. If you feel like that is a lot of work, you obviously don't have to do that. Like I said, you know, I'm not grading anything for real. This is really good practice. This is really good practice for what we are going to be doing. So yeah, I'm throwing a lot of information at you all at once. Are there any questions about this so far? No, everyone is happy. I think let's do this. Let's say I was originally going to do something more sciencey on Monday, but let's continue this on Monday because I think this is good and I think we're learning something, which is awesome. And also more people might show up on Monday, and so, or different people might show up. And so it would be good to like, I can just be like, look at all you missed. No, I'm just kidding. So let's continue this on Monday. And we'll maybe do some like oral stuff too, where you can identify the tonalities, or we can actually like analyze this piece of music, which is what I'd really like to do. So let's do that on Monday. Are there any other questions, concerns, worries, thoughts of impending doom? Juliana's fine. Yes, yes, impending doom always. Yes.
Is it the same time?
Yeah, let's do 4 o'clock again. Is this time okay with everyone? This is all right. I feel like it mostly works because you guys do have like office hours and teachers send stuff on Mondays, it sounds like now. So yeah, so I'd rather do it after that's out of the way so that no one is like, I have to do a thing. And that just makes it like better. So let's do 4 o'clock on Monday. Have a nice Friday off. I have to sing a bunch of like closed but live streamed church services. Juliana says, I like doing my work in the morning. Yeah, it is good to get the work out of the way, right? That's why I like to warm up during the day and then I'm like, oh, I'm done with that. Now I can just do something else. Yeah, so okay, so let's say 4 o'clock on Monday. Everyone have a nice Friday off. And have a nice, it's technically, I guess, sort of a holiday weekend. And I think also, didn't Passover start yesterday? I think for those Jewish people here. So yeah, so have a nice like holiday weekend. I'm sorry we're probably spending it away from people that we want to spend it with. But just remember, we're all here. We're all here together. So sweet. Awesome. Well, I'll catch you all later. Thanks for coming. Bye.